Bodies of water are more than just vital elements of our natural environment. Our seas, rivers, lakes and streams are also shapers of culture and tradition. In the sixth season of Dayaw, we go with the flow to see how this most vital of resources has enabled us to become bearers of Dayaw, our knowledge, our pride. When I think of the Pasig River, I am quite frankly disturbed. So many contrasting images that mix past and present, nostalgia and reality, myth and fact, promise and challenge. The Pasig River is the one defining natural feature that we Manileños have taken for granted. Here is a river that has offered us so much, one that we have so neglected as the city grows farther and farther away from her banks. Greatest civilizations have sprung beside rivers. Many of the greatest modern cities still proudly trace the roots to their waterways. And these waterways have remained vital and important as passages, as economic byways, as sources of life.
Bustling with trade, no? Not just trade with the Chinese, but also inter-kingdom trade. The Chinese will stay somewhere in Manila Bay, but the people who trade with them on Manila Bay area will use the Pasig to continue the trading inland. And so during the Spanish period, you'll see a lot of old photographs showing the casco, no? The little canoe. These would be used all over the Pasig River to bring goods back and forth, to bring goods and people back and forth the river.
During the early years, there was this group of people came over here by the boat and by the river. They decided to stay here dito sa inner land instead of doon sa mouth ng Manila Bay. Kasi dito, unlike doon, may current kasi, tahimik, payapa ang tubig sa sapa. And then, they also realized na this place was bountiful. There's so much plants and trees around, and there are fish. So, yung mga early river dwellers or taga-ilog, na kung saan ngayon tinatawag natin mga Tagalog, they settled here over the years hanggang sa nakabuo sila ng malaking community. So, making that settlement the oldest one among other settlements in the entire stretch of Pasig River. The early people here served as middlemen, parang salesmen, that they became aggressive and became a part of an extensive maritime trading at the time.
Sadly, modern Manila has chosen to disregard the Pasig River. In so doing, we deprive ourselves of so much that other modern cities would proudly hold up as their own cradles of civilization.
At ito yung guarantee ko. Napakasimple lang ang guarantee ko. Kahit may subsidy, kahit walang subsidy, kahit anong contribution, all of these issues, hindi mababawasan ang serbisyo ng PhilHealth. Hindi mababawasan ang bayad ng PhilHealth sa insurance claim. In fact, baliktad, padadamihin pa namin ang serbisyong ibibigay ng PhilHealth, palalakihin pa namin ang pagbayad sa insurance claims. So, I would like to just assure everybody, huwag niyong inaalala na mababawasan ang serbisyo kahit na kanino, para sa senior, para sa mga hirap, para sa middle class. Walang mababawasan kahit isang pusing. Quite the opposite. Dadagdagan natin yan in 2025, mas dadami pa ang magiging serbisyo na ibinibigay ng PhilHealth, mas lalaki pa ang magiging payment na ibibigay sa insurance claim. Kaya huwag po kayong mag-aalala, walang mawawala sa serbisyo ng PhilHealth. Mas pinapaganda pa nga namin ang pagpatakbo ng PhilHealth para mas marami pang maibibigay sa taong bayan.
From Laguna de Bay, the Pasig River winds through the city and then empties into Manila Bay. With each new district, a story, a heritage that cannot be forgotten. The history of the Pasig echoes the history of other great rivers, which nourished ancient cultures and civilizations. Manila is no different. The different districts that sprung up by the river each has its own culture and history, each one a reflection of the river. Santa Ana District is one of the oldest in Manila. The story of this community traces both pre-Hispanic roots and Catholic upbringing.
In 1571, the Spaniards first arrived in Manila. But it was only in 1578 that the Franciscan arrived at itong area na to, which used to be known as Kingdom of Namayan, na-award sa kanila. They started to evangelize the place, introducing Christianity, and starting to colonize the entire place. They first asked the local here about the name of the place while pointing to the river. Ang sagot niya, Sapa. Having in mind to name this place after the name of the mother of the Holy Virgin, Virgin Mary, they first named this place Santa Ana de Sapa. During those time then, Santa Ana is the most elevated part of the entire landscape. That they decided to bury their dead relatives, family, dun sa pinakamataas na elevation ng area. Kasi during rainy season, especially, yung level ng tubig sa river, tumataas yan. Kaya pumapasok yan dito sa inner land. So at least itong highest point ng area na to, at least secured, hindi mababasa yung mga buried bodies.
Our ancestors had a very spiritual life. No, our ancestors believed in the spirits and believed in the afterlife. And what archaeologists would find is sort of like a pabaon system where porcelain pieces are buried with the dead. One of the most popular graveyard digs would be in the Santa Ana Church of Manila, where exquisite porcelain, very small pieces of porcelain, were dug out from the graves.
So they start to dug up yung dito sa inner patio. And then doon, what surprised them was a burial ground nga na may mga skeleton, wherein what surrounds each skeleton was porcelain, wares. They even found iron slugs or yung mga blackish shells. We are now exactly on the same site where these artifacts was found. This could have been made around 13th to 14th century. And they call these artifacts as one of those found during the Sung Dynasty period. I saw some artifacts also. It's a blue and white wares. Nakita ko to doon sa tinatawag na mga archaeologists ng back dirt. But the significance of these items na makikita mo nowadays sa Santa Ana suggests how the settlement expands from the river. Historians said that Santa Ana is very strategic in terms of military defense kasi nasa kurbada ng ilog Pasig ang pamayanan ng Santa Ana. Kung saan strategic dito because of the extensive maritime participation ng mga early Filipinos ng mga taga-Santa Ana.
Malacañan Palace is the most apt symbol of the Pasig's importance in our political and social history. Yet very few Filipinos will ever get to see the palace view as it gazes out onto the river. Nor will many ever get to see the reverse view, where the river meets up with the lawns of the palace.
If we're going to look at the palace in postcards, those postcards were actually old postcards. The palace don't look like that anymore. It had a big veranda in front of the Pasig River. This is where governor generals and the presidents before Marcos enjoyed the air of Pasig. And you can see the fishermen, they're fishing, and they're the people doing their everyday lives.
One of the etymologies of the name Malacañan is Mama Malacayanan, which is the place of the fisherman. Because many fishermen live around here and ply the river to sell their wares or to catch fish.
Malacañan is a place within a residential area, which meant that this is a presidential palace that is very close to the people. It's not far from the people, it's very close to the people. It's the people's palace.
Malacañang is both office and residence to the incumbent president of the republic. As such, it is more than just a symbolic seat of power. It is a vital sign that leadership is in place, that continuance is forthcoming. That stability is guaranteed.
To make improvements to make it into a year-long residence. And during the Americans, they added more concrete structures to the compound and to the palace itself. President Quezon added a lot of elements, making it more fitting for a head of state. And in 1978-79, the Marcoses, through Imelda Marcos, of course, almost rebuilt the whole palace, taking away most of the colonial architecture and replacing it with more Filipino elements.
During martial law, he made the part fronting the Pasig River. He made the walls thick and the glasses bulletproof. And there's no veranda there anymore. It was now replaced by the Rizal Ceremonial Hall. So there's no more enjoying the air of Pasig River. It's really, the palace had become a fortress during the time of Ferdinand Marcos.
The river's place is thus doubly symbolic. It is the river of the past, of history, of tradition. Yet the Pasig must also be the river that carries forth the ship of state.
Manolo Quezon always says that Malacañang, or the presidency, is both pulpit, prize, and stage. Pulpit because the president has a voice and he's listened by everyone. Listened to, secure. He's listened to by everyone. And then it is the prize. It's like, when you're winning an election, it's the prize that you get, the honor, the power, and the glory. And then it's a stage because the presidency is where history is being made. And in many ways, the presidency is symbolized by that name, the name of the palace, Malacañang. When people say that order came from Malacañang, it doesn't mean that it came just from the palace, but it came from the president. And everywhere the president goes, Malacañang as a concept, as the presidency goes with him. So, if you're going to look at it, Malacañang is not just a house. It's not just a palace. It's the symbol of presidential power. It's a symbol where the hopes and dreams of Filipinos are placed and are articulated.
Paco is another old district that sprung by the Pasig River, like Santa Ana and San Miguel. The course of Paco's history has been shaped by the Pasig's currents.
The settlement pattern of typical Filipino community was based on water. So the architecture, the bahay kubo itself is contingent upon the coastal at saka riverine ecology. So that's why most of the houses in Paco before were houses on stilts, because the street was the river and the estero. This is the highway, the highway for delivering goods and services at that time. And one of the important residents of Paco was President Laurel, whose house can be found in Peña Francia Street, and other important people. The developer, the Perez Manilio, developed some houses in Paco in the early 20th century.
The esteros, or tributaries of Pasig River, were once a vital part of the city economy and natural infrastructure.
the esteros must be dredged, no, and maintained, no, because this will be the lifeblood, no, of the economy and commerce, no, of Manila, because in the absence of networks of roads, goods can be delivered, no, through the esteros in the Paco market. Actually, in the plan, no, William Parsons designed this market, and all of the marketplaces, no, in Manila were built, no, near an estero, because it was logical that goods will be delivered, no, through the water networks of the canals and esteros.
But we have treated them badly.
The problem was, eventually, because of urbanization, there were some esteros that were already gone, meaning there's no waterway anymore. So when roads were constructed by the Americans and more vehicles were acquired, the esteros became practically useless for commuters. And that made it, basically, people neglected the esteros already.
What have we lost in neglecting these natural waterways that once made Manila the Venice of Asia?
Dahil layong mabigyan ng pagkakataong bumoto ang higit sa nakararaming Filipino, nagtakda ang Commission on Election ng ilang mga alituntunin para sa local absentee voting. Ayon sa COMELEC, bibigyan ng pagkakataong bumoto ng mas maaga ang mga empleyado ng gobyerno, mga miyembro ng AFP at PNP at mga mamamahayag na nagtatrabaho ngayong halalan. Ang bawat isa ay dapat actively registered voter at ma-assign na mag-duty sa mga lugar kung saan sila ay hindi rehistrado sa araw ng halalan. Ang deadline para magsumite ng aplikasyon ay sa March 7, 2025. Ang botohan ay magaganap mula April 28 hanggang April 30, alas 8 ng umaga hanggang alas 5 ng hapon, sa lugar na itatakda ng mga government office head at AFP at PNP commanders, pati na sa mga tanggapan ng COMELEC kung saan nag-file ng application para sa local absentee voting. Automated ang paraan ng pagboto, mga senador at party representative lamang ang maaaring pagbotohan dito. Isang mahalagang paalala mula sa inyong Election TV. Naghahangad ng isang malinis, maayos at mapayapang halalan para sa bayan.
Mabuhay! Uy, malapit na eleksyon. Nakapili ka na ba ng kandidato? Kung hindi pa, tara! Kilatisin natin ang mga kandidato ng 2025 elections. Busisiin natin ang kanilang mga plataforma at alamin natin kung sino sa kanila ang talagang tutupad ng pangako at kung sino ang nagpapaikot lamang ng ating mundo. Know your candidates. Malapit na. Abangan dito sa PTV.
Nostalgia can be cruel. We look back at what the Pasig once was and how it is so very vital to shaping so many facets of our history and culture. We look at it now and wonder, where is the beauty? life force. The energy that has so inspired poets and composers to create hymns to the river's beauty. In Nicolor Abelardo's immortal Kumintang, Mutya ng Pasig, he pictures the river as a muse.
Dati akong paraluman sa kaharian ng pag-ibig, ang pag-ibig na mamatay, naglaho rin ang
We hear her asking for our love to resuscitate her.
ang lakas ko ay nalipat sa puso't dibdib ng lahat. Kung nais ninyo ako'y mabuhay, pag-ibig ko'y inyong ibigay.
And bring her back to life. How have we responded? The many efforts to rehabilitate the Pasig River spark hope, not only for the river, but for our own spirits.
The whole Pasig River system, it will take us 15 to 20 years to really, truly rehabilitate the Pasig River. Mababalik na uso sa dati yung water class level, water class C, conducive na ho siya sa lahat ng bagay. Ang inihiling ho lang namin sa publiko, sana ho makipagtulungan ho kayo sa amin. Mga LGU, sana ho mas maging responsible kayo. Wag ho natin iasa lahat sa national government o sa amin ang paglilinis. Bigyan ho rin natin ng space na magkaroon ho tayo ng awa o responsibility na tulungan kami.
Rivers provide everything. It's not only water for drinking, for taking a bath, but all the foods, the fishes are there. And that's why many communities have prospered along river banks. And in the Philippines, the Pasig is one of the most important rivers. The Pasig connects Manila Bay and Laguna de Bay. And without the Pasig, maybe the culture of Manila would not have prospered in the way that it did. I remember Sylvia Mayuga, who said that the moment we have turned our backs on Pasig River, all of our problems began. I fully agree with her because Pasig is such an important waterway. It used to be so clean that it really sustained people in Manila and surrounding areas.
So much for Manila to be a modern, world-class city, but we do so by turning our backs on the source of life, which birthed this city. Our treatment of the Pasig River reflects in many ways our own forgetfulness, apathy, our own greed, and our own inability to harness and protect the most vital elements of our environment. If in the future, the Pasig's waters will reflect us, what will we see? Will we see our own murky, muddled outlook? I hope that one day, the waters of Pasig River reflect this generation's ability to care, to commit, to fight, to be bearers of Dayaw, our knowledge, our pride.